I'm so excited to be sitting down today with this lovely lady next to me, Miss Linda Gross, author, public speaker, coach. This woman is doing amazing things, you guys, so let's just get to it. She has some really cool books, and ladies, please tune in, pay attention, because we might learn some good stuff today. Shout out to all my single ladies out there. Linda is going to be our heaven sent today, I think. Hi, Linda.
Hi, thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Of course. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to sit down with us today.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to start talking about your books, but before we do, just kind of talk a little bit about yourself and your background. And I know you went to UCLA, studied psychology.
Yeah.
So just kind of talk a little bit about yourself.
Of course. I started writing actually because I was in a long-term marriage and I got out, and of course the dating world had changed so much since the last time I was dating, and I think the reason why it has changed so much is because of the internet. So the good thing is that, you know, the internet is just so accessible, and people today, dating people have a lot more options today. That's the upside, but the bad side is you really have to know how to like navigate all that, because there's a lot of lying and a lot of cheating and a lot of the negative element that you have to, male or female, you have to weed through all that and get through and hopefully find, you know, a person that's a good, decent person that you want to be with.
Yeah.
So
That's so true, and I think we've all heard that term, catfish.
Yeah.
We've all had our experiences with that, and you're so right. Internet dating has kind of taken over.
Yeah.
Do you have any like perspective on it, or like what's your feelings on internet dating and online dating?
Well, like I say, the best thing about it is the numbers. So, you know, back in the day, you had to rely on people setting you up or meeting somebody at somebody's barbecue, or so you'd only have access to like maybe 5 people or 20 people or whatever. So now you have access to millions and millions of people, and you know, even if you want to stay in your own backyard, there's still probably 1 million people in your backyard for most cities. So that's the good part. But you know, there's a lot of drawback to it. Like I said, there's a lot of lying. So you know, you have to learn skills on how to get through all that and not get disgruntled. It's kind of like a numbers game. It's almost like a salesperson that you have to put out, you know, so many feelers, so many leads to like finally get the sale, close the sale, and get it done. So it's a numbers thing. So as long as you have to make it a game. You have to make it a sport, because otherwise, if you get too hung up on why one person didn't call you back or why one person, you know, did you wrong, then you're just gonna, you know, go down a negative path that isn't gonna serve you.
That's true.
So
That's so true, and I think, or I feel like maybe from experience, that's very, very true for women. Do you feel like women feel like that a little bit more than men, or is it kind of a balance?
I think women feel that more than men, because I think traditionally women are used to, and it's natural to date one guy at a time. But my recommendation in the new ladies book, Hitched in 90 Days or Less, is for the woman to kind of, in that aspect only, to kind of date like the guy, meaning date more than one person at a time, because that way you're not so focused on, well, you know, it's been 3 days and he hasn't called me. You know, you don't get that anxiousness, and you know, guys don't like girls who are anxious. You know, it's not sexy, it's not cool. So if you're dating like 4 people, and you know, then if he doesn't call you back, so what? You got 3 more that you know are taking your attention, and then the confidence thing kicks in, and then you're relaxed and confident, which is very sexy. I mean, that's what guys look for as well. They want that confidence.
You heard it, ladies. Men like that confidence. So, speaking about your book, which you just mentioned, Hitched in 90 Days or Less. So, this is the most recent book that you've done.
Yes.
Every Girl's Ultimate Guide to Dating. This is probably like our Bible for single ladies.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about, first of all, what was kind of your inspiration behind writing this book?
My inspiration is I've had so many women that say that they've been dating this guy for like years even, and you know, the guys are commitment phobes, and that hasn't been my experience. So it's not that they're commitment phobes, it's just that there's something about the woman that might be a little bit amiss And that's why he's dragging his feet. He wants to leave his options open. Because I think guys really do want to do well by their woman. They really do want to make her happy and, you know, be together with somebody.
Right.
But if there's something that is making them hold back, there's a reason for that. And so that's why he's not taking it to the next level. You know, oh,
Right.
what are we? Well, you know, am I just, you know, a side piece or whatever, or someone that you date occasionally? And of course, most women don't want that. Most
Right.
women do want an exclusive relationship.
Right.
So it came about because of that. It also came about because when I wrote the men's book, which is prior to this one, I had so many, and the men's book only focuses on men's issues.
Okay.
It's not, I don't believe in unisex books, because the advice I would give to a woman is totally, in my book, totally different than the advice I would give to a man. Now, they both start at point A and they both want to get to point C, but how the two sexes navigate from here to here are completely different.
Right.
So it's to me, it's two totally different books. So anyway, I had a lot of women read the men's book because, you know, they wanted to see what the men were up to. We're curious. And so they said at the end, you know, oh, are you going to write the women's dating book? You have to write one for us too. And it kind of like went in one ear and out the other ear, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll write it one day. It wasn't like top of my list. And then a couple of years went by, and I had a friend of a friend, a close friend of a friend of mine, and she sat me down one day. We were at a party, and she's like, come over here, and she pulled my hand, she sat me down just like this, and she goes, you have got to write the women's book. She says, look, I have 6 single women in my office right now. They're all getting a copy. They need this book. And there was just something snapped in me, and I thought, okay, it's time. I better sit down and write the book. And that's how it came to pass.
Okay, nice. So kind of just briefly walk us through what kind of things do you talk about in this book?
Yeah, probably 3 major areas. One area would be, I think a lot of women have self-sabotaging behavior, and we do these behaviors not on purpose, but it's almost like we're unconscious to like what we're doing, okay? But we do them anyway.
That's true.
So one of the goals of the book is to raise that awareness to where you see, here's your behavior and here's how it affects men. They're like, oh, I had no idea that that action affected them like this.
Right.
So when you catch yourself in the act doing those behaviors, you can say, look, I'm going to make a conscious effort to like not do that anymore because it's affecting me negatively, and that might be the reason why he's like dating you for years and years and not proposing, like whatever that thing is.
We don't even realize it.
So so to bring your awareness, and the good thing is those behaviors can be changed. They can be unlearned and undid. So that way it betters your chances of getting the guy that you really want. So that was the first focus. The second focus is how and when to meet guys and where to meet guys. And apparently that's a big topic that a lot of ladies want to know. So the book goes into like 20 different ways that you can meet guys. I mean, we mentioned online dating, which is probably the biggest one, only because the numbers are so big. But there's lots of ways to meet a guy.
Like, where are they at?
To me, I think outside of online dating, my most favorite one is have a common activity. So for example, if you like to do a podcast, find somebody else that's also kind of in that related business. If you like photography, take a photography class. If you like skiing, take a skiing class or whatever. So common interest, because that way it's not about you. And it's not tension, and you can talk about whatever that common interest is as the icebreaker. So, for example, if you like farmer's market, then go to the farmer's market. So, that way you can say, wow, those are pretty big cucumbers, or what, you can use that as the icebreaker. Or did you know that they have the farmer's market also on Wednesday, but on Wednesday they do something different that they don't do on the Saturday. Use that as your icebreaker. And it's a calm, natural way to start a conversation with somebody. So you'll find lots of tips, those and more, like 18 other ones as well. So how and when and why to meet somebody. So that always helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely bringing awareness to self-sabotaging ways.
Behavior,
And
right.
then how to find men, maybe common interests.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And let me talk a second about the name of the book. It's called Hitched, which means how to get proposed in 90 days. So I'm not suggesting that you marry in 90 days because, it might be a little too fast to do that. So so the book it's going to teach you, this is the third aspect, it's going to teach you how to be so adorable, so irresistible, so desirable that they just don't want to let you go. They don't want to lose you to some other guy because you're so fabulous. So they almost like have to propose just to, like get you sewn up, so to speak, so you're not like leaving for another guy. So that's what the meaning of the title is. Now, it's my recommendation that after you get proposed to, you should have a long engagement. Make it a year. A year is like a good time. You go through all 4 seasons. He gets to meet your people. You get to meet his people. You see him in a variety of different situations to make your final decision if you're going to walk down the aisle.
Right.
So a year is a good time for that. But so the title comes from, you're so adorable that there's just no way he's going to let you out of his sight.
They just can't resist you, right? They just can't resist.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know briefly you mentioned earlier a little bit about how you recommend dating 100 guys or multiple guys.
Yeah.
Some women may say, oh, well, that takes a lot, and I really just want to focus on one guy. Do you have any ways of encouraging women to just say, hey, just date multiple guys? It'll give you a way to kind of learn maybe what you like and what you don't like. Do you have maybe like a recommendation on
Absolutely.
how to get women to support that idea that maybe don't?
I think women are inherently monogamous, so it's hard for women to wrap their head around dating a whole bunch of guys. I'm not saying have sex with all these guys. Just go on a lot of first dates. Now, the cool thing is most women are really smart when it comes to relationships. Most women know within 5 to 15 minutes if this guy is going to work out or not. 5 to 15 minutes, okay? So it's my recommendation, go on a short first date. I don't want you to be going out there for 3 hours with a concert or 3 hours with a sporting event, or you start on a short date and then it turned into a 5-hour date. No, not on a first date. The second date can be long, but the first date should be kind of like a meet and greet. Do something easy. Either go for a walk, go for coffee, go have a drink. You're going to meet them. It's either going to be yes or a no. Like I say, 15 minutes, most girls know. Like more than 90%, you'll know. You'll feel it in your gut if this is going to work or not. So I think the mistake that women do, because we like being monogamous, which is kind of a mistake in the beginning, is they pair up with this guy and then they're like dating him for 6 months, 7 months, 9 months. Girl, you didn't listen to your gut in those first 15 minutes. It's not going to change. So then you get into this negative behavior. One of the self-sabotaging behaviors is, oh, he's a home improvement project. I'm going to change this and this aspect about him because that's the part that I don't like. Don't do that. Don't do that, because no guy wants to be changed, especially, from his woman. And number 2, it puts you in the role of being the mother. That's not a sexy place to be in. You don't want to be the mother. You know what I'm saying? You want to be, his dating partner. So most guys, the opposite of you're wanting to change him, most guys want acceptance. So if you're trying to change him, the definition of that means you don't accept him. And that's a big turnoff to most guys. So don't do that. So I would think out of all the and by the way, all the tips in the book, I was recently single myself. I'm married now. I tried all of them. So I let you know the good and the bad of all of them, and like how to make them work and how to get through the bumps and all that. And I would say that dating 100 men was the best tip out of the 20. The best, because I want you to, the guy doesn't have to be perfect to date him.
Right.
So date anybody that's like a 7 or higher.
We all have our flaws.
They don't have to be 10s. Just date 7 or better. And what I learned after the 30th date is like, wow, this whole dating thing is not about him. Mm-hmm. It's not about if he's good enough, like all that stuff. It's about me. And so you really get in touch with, what does Shannon want? Mm-hmm. What is going to make Shannon happy? Mm-hmm. Because another cool feature that I found out is that when you say no, and you're going to say it politely, like a lady, you know, you're going to, and hopefully within 24 hours, don't string the guy along if he's not right. But you're going to say, I had a really nice date, you're a really nice person, but I just didn't feel the click. Mm-hmm. And you know, after the first date, that's kind of easy to do. Nobody's invested, nobody's feelings are going to get hurt, and a guy can't argue with you if you're talking about your feelings, meaning I don't feel the click. Right, you know, it's not saying you're a bad person. It's just that you're not right for me.
Right.
So you put that fish back in the water and you keep fishing. So what I found is after about the 30th date, my continuing to say, no, he's not right. No, he's not right. No, he's not right. The universe just kind of like opened up. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, the 31st guy and the 32nd guy, then the universe kept sending me guys that are closer and closer and closer to what I want. It's kind of like, it was like a spiritual awakening kind of thing, if you guys can get into that. So you have to be like lighthearted and fun with it. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing is this whole spiritual element, that now that you're in touch with what you want, mm-hmm. then the universe is going to mirror that. Mm-hmm. So it works really well.
So it definitely sounds like having an open mind.
Yeah.
Is like the key thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Having an open mind. And then, do you kind of want to briefly touch on this? So this is for the guys.
This
and
is
if
for
you're
the guys.
watching. Mastering Women.
Exactly.
Maybe the Bible?
Yes, it really is.
So talk a little bit about this book just briefly and kind of what this entails.
Yeah, that's my baby. That's where it all started. I you know, as Shannon mentioned, I have a degree from UCLA in psychology, and I interviewed over 20,000 men to write that book. Plus, I did probably about 2 to 3 years of research of all the university studies in psychology about relationships, and with the two elements, I merged those together. And basically, my premise is the age-old question: is it nature or is it nurture? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will tell you that it's nurture, meaning like how you were raised and how you were brought up. Okay. And what I found out during my studies is that quite the opposite, that it's nature, meaning most of what we do is biology. Mm-hmm. It's our chemicals, our enzymes, our electrical connections, our reactions to certain things. Most of that is preordained, it's predetermined, biologically speaking. And, you know, I went back, everyone kept saying, you know, women are so complicated, women are so hard, women are so different. Like, how can you write one book, one size fits all?
Right.
And the reason why I did is because I took my research all the way back to 10,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, how did the cavemen do it? Mm-hmm. And it turns out that our biology is pretty much the same biology as what we had 10,000 years ago.
Right.
So if you understand it from that premise, and it's my assumption that most people operate from their animal instincts about 90% of the time. Mm-hmm. So can you change that biology? Of course you can, mm-hmm. but that would take conscious effort. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot to like I was saying a moment ago, women are inherently monogamous. Mm-hmm. But in this case, with the women's book, I'm asking you to like make a conscious effort to make that shift, mm-hmm. because it will benefit you. And there's a lot of behaviors by both sexes that just happen automatically and naturally. It's just part of of who we are. Right. So you can change that behavior, but it takes a lot of effort. Mm-hmm. So why not just do what already comes naturally and don't fight, you know, that effort? Mm-hmm. So the book for the men goes into, you know, how to be successful with women, how to win them over. Mm. And based on my research, I boiled it down to 4 easy elements. And it's my contention that if you do those 4 elements, you can win over any woman, anytime, for any reason. So if you just want her for a one-night stand, you can use the principles for that. If you want her for your forever girl, you can use the principles for that. If you're already married, you can use the same 4 principles for that. As long as you check off that you're doing those four elements with the women, you're good to go. And it has lots of steps on how to make it happen. I know a lot of guys don't like to read, but the book is written in like short little blurbs. I've written the book in what I call man language. It's like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Language.
What do I need to do? Bam. Here's what you need to do.
Just
Here's
to the
the
point.
situation. Here's the situation. Bam.
Right.
Here's the bullet point. Here's what you need to do. So it's so easy to like take action right now, because it's fast and it's direct and there's no psychobabble.
That's probably the best part.
You know, and it just gets right to the meat of what you need to do.
Right.
So
That sounds awesome, incredibly awesome. And the cool thing is, I know you said you were working on this in an audio, right? So
Yes.
even better for guys that just have that short attention span.
yes,
You don't want to read.
yes, both books are currently available in an ebook or also in the paperback book. You can find it either on my website or on Amazon. And the men's book, I just finished recording the audio version, and hopefully it's like in editing right now. Hopefully in about a month that will be ready.
Okay.
For those of you who do get the book through the Kindle app, and you don't have to have an e-reader to get the Kindle app, which is free, by the way. So you can listen to the book either on your laptop or your smartphone or your personal tablet. And the Kindle app itself has a free, it's called a convert to text feature. So it's kind of a little bit robotic, but my people tell me that after about the 10th page, 20th page, your ear kind of gets used to that robotic sound.
Oh, okay.
So for the time being, they can use that text to speech feature, and my voice will be ready hopefully in about a month.
Okay, nice. And then you did mention your website, which is the Men's Advocate.
The men's website is themensadvocate.com, themensadvocate.com. The women's site is myrelationshipexpert.net, myrelationshipexpert.net. And then if you go on my site, you'll find all my other social media links.
Okay.
For example, my Twitter is DT4M, which is short for Dating Tips for Me, the number 4, DT4M. And then from there, you can like link on all the other, like Facebook and all the other sites.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys heard it, that's her social media. And then I always just like to ask, so you are known as a gender relations expert, the men's advocate. So for maybe those that are being inspired to kind of go in the steps that you've taken, maybe younger adults that maybe want to do what you're doing, do you have a piece of advice you would give to them, maybe something that's worked for you that you would give to encourage them in maybe their career path?
In general, or this like a dating career path?
Well, if they want to be like an author or maybe a public speaker or even studying psychology, maybe someone that's wanting to go down the same footsteps as you.
Yeah.
Is there any piece of advice you'd give?
Absolutely. And I'll just tell you from my personal experience, I was so shy as a kid. So shy. I mean, to the point where my teachers didn't even think I spoke English. I was so shy. And that I had to overcome that shyness. And the best tip that I can give you that worked for me was I took public speaking to where I was it was actually a sales related public speaking where I was in a networking group. I had to show up, once a week at 7 a.m. and basically you had to pitch your product or service for 30 seconds like every week. And I did so well at that, I ended up becoming the leader of my group, and then I ended up becoming the regional manager for that public speaking. But I did 2 years of that. I mean, for me, I went from like zero, like so shy, to like, finally I can talk in front of an audience. It took me about 2 years. So depending on where the person starts, I was probably like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And it took me 2 years of once a week. So maybe if you're a little further along than that, it won't take you that long. But, you have to like be able to, the thing about they have Toastmasters, but that's not selling a product. You want to, if you can, find a group that also includes sales, because if you're making the sale, that's your indication that you're doing it right. So not only are you public speaking, but you're winning them over because they're buying your product or service. So that having that element puts like a little more like pressure to it, and it makes it a little bit more valid. But I figured that once I could speak to a group of 30, which is how big my weekly session was, then when it comes time to like speak one-on-one, it's like a piece of cake, because they say one of the most fearful things in life is getting up in front of somebody and speaking, right? So like if you can do 30, you can conquer one or two, and actually it scales the other direction, because if you can do 30, then if you have an audience of 80, it's really not that much more effort, right? And it's just a matter of if you're speaking to a large audience, just be prepared. Just be prepared on what you're going to talk about. Maybe you're rehearsing it in the bathroom mirror before you go, or maybe you're trying to find out about the subject, that you're going to talk about. Use maybe 3 or 4 resources on the subject that you're talking, and that all helps. The more prepared you are, then you're confident, and you don't have to worry about, being scared. And being scared is actually like a good thing, because it just kind of tells yourself that you're alive.
The fear drives you.
Rather than saying you're scared, let's replace that with another word to say you're excited. Because chemically, the feeling is the same. And chemically, the enzymes in your system that release, they're the same. So don't say I'm scared, just say I'm excited. And that kind of like will shift to where it's like to the positive element of the public speaking. So that's what I would do for that. With regard to following your passion, if there's some way that you can dabble in your passion as often as you can, daily is probably best. So like if you want to be a good guitarist or whatever, you're going to have to practice an hour a day or even more, depending on what you want to do. For me, I wanted to like write, and even though I was a good student and all that kind of stuff, it's different when you're writing for school versus writing for an audience. But for me, I started off with a blog, and I started off with a daily blog, and I noticed that your skills will get, just like anything. If you want to be a good golfer, you better be out there every day. If you want to, be a good baseball player, you better be out there doing practice. It's not just stepping on the mound and saying, here you go. Now, there's a lot of behind the scenes practice. So for me, I got my start just doing a daily blog, and it would take me about an hour to write the blog. I'd write it, and then I'd come back and I'd edit it, and then add the pictures and this and that, the links. And so take about an hour a day. And I noticed that like over a few months, your writing skills get better. And then, with the blog, again, try to find something where you're getting feedback. Just like I was telling you earlier with the sales. If you're doing something that gives you feedback, like with a blog, you're going to get comments, good or bad. So you'll see like, ooh, that didn't go over so well. I got criticized for this section of it, or this area. Ooh, I see that it helped like a few hundred people. They started writing me, and they liked that tip that I gave them. So that feedback is like really important, because that way you can like fine tune what you're doing. So the next production, you just keep getting better and better.
Right. Yeah. So definitely sounds like helping with areas you're strong in, and then where maybe areas of improvement.
Yeah. When you get the feedback. Yeah.
So that is great advice. Thank you for sharing just a little bit of insight on Linda Gross and your books, and I think you're doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Expert advice, you guys. I hope you cherish it. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to sit down with us. Again, you guys, be sure to check out our books, Hitched in 90 Days or Less, and then Mastering Women. You can get this on Amazon or on our website, so we'll have all that information for you guys. And best of luck to you, Linda. Thank you so much for interviewing.
I have a special offer for your viewers. Okay. If they want to tell me that they saw our interview today, just mention Shannon's show, and they're going to get 15 minutes off the clock. So 15 minutes for free to ask me any life coaching question. Could be a relationship, could be a personal issue, conflict resolution, business development, if you want to start a business, if you're having trouble with your job at work, any of those kind of questions. So they'll get 15 minutes free just by mentioning the show. If you want to continue on for the rest of the hour, you can, load the site or make another date, for the future.
Nice. So take advantage. First
Yeah.
15 minutes free, you guys.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. I'll be back and I'll see you in the next video.